What if a hairline crack in a 500-year-old wall is actually the starter pistol for the most earth-shaking event in human history? That question rocketed across social media last week after tourists live-streamed tiny flecks of dust drifting from Jerusalem's sealed eastern gate. Within hours, the clip blew past 3 million views, and comment sections morphed into prophecy watch parties. If you're watching for the sign, type "Open the gate" below so we can see how many of us are awake and ready. You might want to keep those notifications on. The next update could shake the planet. For half a millennium, that gateway, also called the Golden Gate and the Mercy Gate, hasn't budged an inch. Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent bricked it shut in 1541 after reading that a Jewish Messiah would march through and topple every earthly empire. To make triple sure, he planted a Muslim cemetery directly in front, believing a priestly deliverer would never tread across graves. Stones, mortar, and superstition. That was his plan. Yet sealing the arch only supercharged the legend, because ancient scrolls already hinted the doorway would stay closed until the moment heaven decided otherwise. Historians, rabbis, imams, pastors, skeptics, and vloggers now orbit the same slab of limestone, each convinced it hides the key to what happens next for humanity. And lately, the suspense has a pulse. Microquakes nudge Jerusalem. Ground-penetrating radar pings hollow chambers, and one accidental archaeological freefall have piled fresh fuel on the fire. Something buried, something ancient, seems to breathe beneath the stones. Tonight we peel back those layers of rock and rumor, chasing the answer to a single question: is the next tremor geological or divine? Grab your coffee, silence the notifications, and lean in, because once the dust truly stirs, there may be no turning back. History is humming soon. First, we need to rewind the scrolls nearly 26 centuries to the prophet Ezekiel. Standing on a dusty ridge facing the Temple Mount, he wrote, "This gate shall be shut. It shall not be opened, and no man shall enter in by it, because the Lord God of Israel has entered in by it. Therefore it shall be shut." Readers may spar over the fine print, but everyone agrees on the headline. Once the divine presence walked through that arch, its stones became a locked vault until the author of history turns the key. Fast forward to 1541. The Ottoman Empire is flexing, and Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent rules an expanse so large it bends the horizon. When court scholars present him with Ezekiel's prophecy, the warrior king feels a chill. Legend says he paces the palace, imagining a foreign redeemer riding straight through his capital. By dawn, he issues 2 decrees: brick the eastern gate shut with massive limestone blocks, and stack grave after grave before it as a spiritual minefield. If prophecy is architecture, he reasons, maybe architecture can crush prophecy. Masons toil under the desert sun, sealing the arch while imams chant prayers of protection. The final stone thuds into place, echoing down the Kidron Valley like a gavel strike at eternity's courthouse. Pilgrims outside the walls whisper that the gate no longer belongs to an empire or even to Jerusalem. It belongs to time. Shut by a sultan, foretold by a prophet, and bookmarked by destiny, the Mercy Gate sits as a silent wager between human fear and divine patience. Tourists snap selfies, priests whisper psalms, and cameras watch for the impossible click of stone releasing. Some swear they feel the wall breathing beneath their fingertips to this day. Jump ahead to a rainy afternoon in 1969. Archaeology student James Fleming is photographing tombs along the wall when the earth suddenly liquefies beneath his boots. He plunges through mud, drops 10 feet, and lands eye to arch on an enormous hidden gateway. Stone lintels, weathered carvings, and a black void leading under the city. Fleming snaps photos before rescuers haul him out, and those negatives prove something mind-bending. The sealed eastern gate we see is only version 2. An older portal, likely from the Second Temple period, sleeps directly underneath, exactly where the Gospels say Jesus entered on Palm Sunday. Overnight, scholars recalculate everything. 2 gates, stacked like pages in a cosmic notebook, hint at a narrative still being written. The upper arch is shut. The lower arch, once opened, past victory and future climax welded together in limestone. Israel's government, fresh from the Six-Day War, swiftly bans deeper digs. Rumor whispers that engineers found unstable caverns reaching toward the Temple Mount, and that any vibration could trigger collapse. Officially, it's about safety. Unofficially, nobody wants to be the leader who accidentally pries open a prophecy. Fast forward again to today. Smartphone footage, drone flybys, and satellite zoom-ins turn the Mercy Gate into a 24-hour reality show. In late 2024, a magnitude 4.1 tremor ripples across the Judean hills, and cameras catch a puff of mortar dust escaping like breath from the stones. Structural engineers blame thermal expansion, but concede anomalous displacement in 3 upper blocks. TikTok detectives stitch the clips, add ominous music, and millions binge the loop in the dark, headphones on, wondering if they're hearing the first heartbeat of the end. Mainstream outlets roll their eyes, yet quietly request high-resolution scans from European labs. The silence speaks louder than their sarcasm. All this drama forces one question. Why does a single gate ignite rulers and internet sleuths alike? Look at the pattern. Pharaoh tightened his fist, water parted. Herod hunted babies, the child slipped away. Pilate sealed a tomb. Sunrise rolled the stone aside. Suleiman bricked an arch. Its silence now shouts destiny. Time and again, human locks become invitations for divine breakout. Interpretations travel 3 roads. Literalists expect the arch to crack moments before a radiant descent from the Mount of Olives. Symbolists say the real gate is the human heart. Skeptics call it coincidence or tourism hype, yet they still refresh the live stream at midnight, the way non-believers glance upward during turbulence. Clerics plant their flags, too. A leading rabbi teaches the Messiah will hover until the graves are supernaturally cleansed. An Islamic scholar links the reopening to Isa's return beside the Mahdi. Christian pastors quote Revelation, urging people to trim their lamps. They differ on timing but agree the finale descends from above, not from a Senate vote. Scroll through the comments and you'll see the loop. One user mocks, "It's just old rocks." 10 lines later, the same profile confesses replaying the dust cloud in slow motion. The Eastern Gate is both dull masonry and edge-of-the-seat thriller. That contradiction may be the ultimate lure, a doorway where heaven and history have wagered everything. Stay with me. The next minutes might decide which side you choose when the stones finally move. Think of prophecy like a pressure cooker. The longer it stays sealed, the louder the hiss. That hiss echoes today in viral hashtags, late-night radio shows, and even United Nations debates about inheritance tensions. You can almost feel diplomats itching to intervene, yet fearing they'll trigger a spiritual avalanche. Nobody wants their name on the moment the gate groans for the cameras worldwide. Where does that leave us? Dust drifting, cameras blinking, prophecies pulsing on old stone, maybe with a choice instead of a prediction? The gate might wait for an earthquake or swing wide tonight inside your story. Both ideas feel wild, yet both match a God who loves reversals. Picture it. The Mount of Olives quakes, daylight fractures, and a roar rolls through the valley. Mortar pops, limestone groans, and the Mercy Gate exhales 5 centuries of dust. Some drop to their knees, others hit record, but all realize history just pivoted on a hidden hinge. Meanwhile, the live stream counter keeps ticking. 12,000 people at 3 in the morning staring at an unmoving wall. Chat feeds flicker with emojis of keys and shofar horns. Even data analysts admit the viewer graph looks like a heartbeat. Something about that image, a digital pulse echoing against a stone pulse, makes you wonder if the gap between earthly screens and heavenly signs is thinner than we think, more than we imagine. Maybe that scene arrives tomorrow, maybe decades away. Yet a smaller gate, your heart, moves now. Will you lock it with doubt or open it with hope? You don't need every answer to decide. Just whisper, "Step in," if you're there. The Grand Arch and the human chest share one design. Both open toward light. Before we wrap, tap like if this journey sparked your imagination, and share it with one friend. Subscribe and ring the bell. When the next tremor hits, you'll want front row seats. Final challenge. When headlines shout, "Eastern Gate cracks open," where will you stand? Yawning and scrolling, or feeling the ground hum with promise? Comment, "I'm watching," if your eyes stay on the wall. Until the stones speak, stay alert, keep your heart unlocked, and remember, the most important gate is only one heartbeat wide.